Okay, here's my audience. Okay, so today's speech is going to be on controlled burns and wildfires and mandatory controlled burns on private and public lands. So first, the problem that we're going to be talking about is wildfires that are out of control. And so a current example of that would be the Canada wildfires. I'm sure you guys have heard about that going on and how the sky has been super hazy and all that. But according to an article written by Hadiza Agude with the Columbus Dispatch, these wildfires started because of a lightning strike in late April and are still spreading now into the middle of June. So that's a pretty large amount of time that these wildfires have been spreading across forests in Canada. And according to another article that was written by Kara Court with CBS News, the regular wildfire season in Canada is from May to October. And a fire of this magnitude this early in the season is really rare. And this is likely because of the super dry conditions caused by climate change that is causing excessive heat and drought. Now, these kinds of wildfires are actually not uncommon. These out-of-control fires are occurring in other parts of the world as well. According to an article published by the Worldwide Fund for Nature, in 2022, in the Amazon forests alone, forest fires were at the highest level they've been in 12 years. So a record high of 12 years in 2022. And according to an article written for the Wall Street Journal by Jim Carlton, Eric Naylor, Paul Vieira, and Ben Kessling, in 2020, firestorms ravaged Australia and large fires blazed throughout Greece in 2021 and Portugal in 2022. So why exactly are these kinds of fires happening? These intense and out-of-control fires happen for a myriad of reasons. Human activity like burning trash or industrial accidents, agricultural overspill, even arson, and as well as climate change, which, as I mentioned before, is causing drier and drier conditions to help fuel wildfires. These kind of devastating fires especially occur when there's a buildup of dead leaves, limbs, and other debris on the forest floor, because all this buildup helps to fuel the fire once it starts. Even if it's just a small fire, like even a match in some areas, if you throw it out there, it's just gonna set everything ablaze and it's gonna be devastating. So what exactly can we do to help prevent such terrible fires? And the number one thing is controlled burns. You might be thinking, what is a controlled burn? Well, a controlled burn, which is also called a prescribed burn, is when a planned fire is done to maintain the health of a forest. So the people that would be doing this would be forest managers or land managers that have training to keep the fire within a specific area. So according to National Geographic, in an article on controlled burning, these planned burns can prevent destructive wildfire by reducing buildup, which I mentioned before. They can reduce invasive insect populations, reduce disease, and destroy invasive plants. And controlled burns also improve habitats for native and endangered species, recycle nutrients back into the soil, letting the plants and trees and wildflowers that grow back even stronger, even more lush than before because all the nutrients going back into the soil. And it also increases water availability because the prescribed burns have the potential to increase the area because the plants are being burned away, and the plants that are placing a high demand for water in the soil, when they're burned away, like the low-lying vegetation is destroyed, is where they draw their water from. It leaves more room and more water for animals to drink. But there are some cons to controlled burns, like reducing air quality or reducing water quality, because even though that low-lying vegetation might be burned away and it provides more water for animals to drink from, the erosion of the soil can cause unsafe water to drink. Also, if a controlled burn were to get out of hand, there would be a great cost to people, property, and animals. Now, a lot of people understand and widely accept controlled burns, but the cons that I just mentioned often keep people from wanting to do them because they're wary of the dangers that come with it, because they're afraid that it might get to their houses, it could hurt their family, their animals, etc. But according to an article written by Brian Kittler with American Forest, the U.S. Forest Service states that out of the 4,000 to 5,000 prescribed burns that they complete annually, 99% of those are successful, which means they stay within their designated area. So that means there's a 1% chance that the fire could get out of control. But with trained professionals conducting these burns, I believe that the pros of controlled burns outweigh the cons. So what can we do to help? And what can forest managers do to help? Well, forest managers can bring more awareness and education to the importance of a controlled burn and how conducting them actually makes families, animals, and properties safer than if a larger fire were to break out because you didn't do a controlled burn, because you didn't get rid of all that foliage and buildup that can make fires worse. As a community, we can support legislation that allows mandatory controlled burns on public lands. And although it is likely no legislation will pass to make it mandatory for private lands to conduct controlled burns, forest managers can try to get in contact with owners of private lands and bring awareness and education to them as well about the importance of controlled burns. So, we just covered a lot. So we covered the problem, which was out of control wildfires, the cause, which was the lack of controlled burns, and the solution, which would be mandatory controlled burns on public and private lands. So I hope that this speech has helped bring awareness to the issue of devastating wildfires and has shown you how we as a community can help our forest and our people stay safe and healthy. Thank you.